Okay. Okay, because I've seen this before. Ah, that's right. I knew it. Dang it, I was on the right path to begin with, and I just forgot, probably because of my foggy sick brain. All right, go into the .docker directory inside your home directory and delete the config.json there, or like copy it out somewhere else, like move it into temp or something. So go to .docker.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, hold on for a second. What? No. So do me a favor before you like do anything else with that. Oh my God. Do a sudo space change zone space -R space wasadmin and then put .docker and then press enter. Okay, up arrow twice. Up arrow twice, yeah. Let's see what the thing says now. Okay,
There it
good.
is.
All right, good. And so you have permissions to it. All right, perfect. Now go and cd into your .docker directory.
So
That's a first problem.
yeah.
So, and then do me a favor and just move that config.json over to temp for a hot minute.
Okay.
Like /tmp. So
Like that.
yep, press enter.
Mm-hmm.
And then try your start now. See what it does. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Robert, I'm gonna let you do your thing, but I think that's probably gonna fix it. I'm almost positive that's what that's.
I couldn't read it. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I couldn't read the Docker directory. That's an issue in and of itself.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Mhm.
do the delete purge thing first, just to make sure. Yeah. Because it probably got all kinds of weirdness there because it couldn't create all kinds of stuff. Now try to start and see what it does.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. I'm gonna come back to you and let's see. Somebody was having another problem. Sorry.
Yep.
Who was
Yeah,
just
that might have been mine. So want me to share my screen?
Please. Yeah, let's take a look at it.
All right, let me know when you can see though. Actually hit share. There we go. So yeah, I'm right here, step 2. And I'm just going through the syntax. I know it's one of those weird ones where you got to combine the lines, but everything looks right.
Okay. All right. And what press enter? What happens? Okay.
Are you serious? I just needed you to look at it, I guess.
That happens. That happens. You got
the
it.
first one I was getting this error up here, and I wasn't sure what was changing. So
I am on calls.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Okay.
yeah, maybe I was just being impatient and didn't have a time or a chance to finish the previous command.
I don't know. Doesn't look like you missed anything there. I'm not sure what it was. Let's just write that off to a cosmic ray.
All right, sunspots. There we go.
You had it perfect the first time. There we go. All right, Kenneth, what's up?
So I'm executing the minikube delete purge and I'm getting an error back.
Okay, what's it say?
The syntax error near unexpected token, and it has like a left, like a less than sign.
All right, share your screen for me.
Okay.
I had the same error as Kenneth.
Okay, good. Not alone. Can you see it? Here. Should I share the right screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I did this. I got that.
Type in minikube space version.
dash version or just version?
Just version. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Hmm.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
I'm getting it from there. Is that where I'm supposed to get it from? Here's a local bin.
So it looks like you reinstalled Minikube. Is that correct?
No, not this time. Let's see, what did I do?
Well, it looks like you curled Minikube right there, right?
Yeah, that's step 8.
Let's see. I don't remember doing this. I started here, so somebody
I'm sorry.
else.
What lab are you doing?
10. So this is where I started. I did this. It looks like somebody else did all this prior to me. Probably to set up the environment, not sure.
Mm,
Or maybe
This-
from the last time.
this is the same environment that you used last week, right?
Yeah, maybe maybe I did that last week. I'm not sure. But at any rate, I started on lab 10 here with this Minikube status, which is right here. This is not
Okay.
showing for me.
Well, here's the challenge. So let's go back to this. So scroll up, press the up arrow until you get to the curl. No, don't scroll up, press the up arrow. Yeah, keep going until you get to that first curl command. Yeah, go back to that. Yeah. All right, so that should say Minikube -Linux -AMD 64.
Oh, okay. 6.4.
64. Yeah, press enter. Cool. And then you're just gonna scroll up and do that sudo install Minikube user local bin.
Scroll, you mean like this, right?
Yep, you're doing perfect.
This?
Perfect. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
And then let's do a Minikube delete purge,
Right.
the command you were running before. Except put a -- all after the -- purge.
Let's see, was it? Okay, delete --PRGE --all, like that, right?
Mhm.
So, okay,
Cool.
that's where I was stuck, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where you were stuck. It
Yeah,
looks
I think-
like, so it looks like, assuming that these machines were not actually touched by y'all because you were probably using the 3003 machines. It looks like
Mhm.
the setup, they may have just slightly messed up the Linux AMD 64, which I believe by default, it'll download the Windows version,
That's
which
probably
is
what
why you were getting a UTF error because it's the wrong.
Yeah, because I
type of
copied this, but maybe the Linux, maybe I just did this part.
Oh,
The-
yeah, it missed the Linux
Maybe it
AMD
didn't pick up
64.
the last part when I copied and pasted.
Oh, wait, hold on. You're installing Minikube there? That's interesting. My instructions are different. Okay, cool. I must not have the most recent copy. You probably have the most recent copy.
Is this
Fair enough.
correct? Okay.
No, that's totally correct. I mean, that's accurate. I'm probably the one who wrote those like 3 years ago. That's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should be good to do the purge, and then you should be able to run Minikube at this point forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, the other thing is this doesn't seem to scroll down after this.
So it doesn't want you to page down.
I'm gonna have to page down. Let's see, I don't have a page down button. Well, let me see if I can copy it. I have another version of this up on my native computer. So let me see if I can copy and paste from the A1 there.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna stop you
All right.
sharing if that's okay.
all right, sure, thanks.
And sorry, who was the other gentleman that was having the same problem? Was that Ryan?
Yeah, that was me. It's working now.
Did you see the?
Yep,
Okay.
got it.
All right, Robert, back to you. Are you fixed?
Yeah, I'm good.
So you're all good? So that fixed everything for you?
It did. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know how that directory got in that state. But yeah,
Team culpa. Team culpa.
who knows? I probably ran some
us.
command.
It was us. Let's just be clear about it. It was us. It's not you. In relationships, it was me, it wasn't you. So It was
Well,
us.
Then it was a good troubleshooting exercise.
Yeah, well, last time I taught this class, just FYI for everybody, Rancher wouldn't install at all because there were some changes into the Rancher, like the Minikube infrastructure. So everyone got to watch me troubleshoot, describe, get events, get logs, not get logs, but logs, and do like a bunch of troubleshooting to fix the Rancher pods that were broken inside the Kubernetes installation. So I'm actually, I meant to dig that up because I was going to share all the Helm stuff with y'all. So let me make sure that you have that Helm YouTube before I leave, because I know we want to make sure you had that. Miss Victoria, how's it going?
Hey, I'm so glad you guys are still here. I've got two things that I need to ask these guys to do before they leave, and I know everybody's probably wanting to jump. We've got to do the post-class assessment. We're required to do, and you could just do it today, I guess. You don't have to do it before
you mean the
leave.
evaluation, the one that I posted from WebAge, or another one?
No, the evaluation from WebAge is the other thing that I was going to say. We really do want the evaluations for today, but the post-class assessment. So you guys all took an assessment before you started the class, and that was for a couple of things. That was to tell us how much you already knew coming into the class, but it was also a marker to judge how much you learned during the training. This is for your learning and development. It's not for WebAge. So if you will go out and take the post-class assessment, we can compare the two scores to prove that it was worth paying us for the training. So on your student portal, there for this class, I think I'll go check, there should be a link to a post-class assessment. So, and they really want you to do that like by the end of the day today, even if you don't do it before you leave. I will have to hound you if you don't do it, because I'm required to get 100% participation in that. So yeah, I want your evaluation. It's important to me personally, but for this, I have to get it. So it's on the portal, student portal, under quizzes, where it says take quiz. And I can't help it if it's a group exercise. Just score better than you did on the first one, if you don't mind.
That's funny.
I know. Yeah, just score better than you did on the first one. Which is going to be tough for Robert because he did really well. Not that you all did.
You mean
Victoria,
my 4 out of 12 isn't good enough?
Well, it was to start with. It was to start with, but we need to bump it up a little bit.
yeah, you see a 6 out of 12. That's like a 50% improvement, right?
Exactly.
Do your best.
That's funny.
But yeah, your learning and development likes to use those scores to prove that you learned something during this training, and we sincerely hope that that's the case. So, Michael, I'm sorry I intruded.
I was going to ask, just a quick reminder, is that do we have the previous like Rancher video for this for Kroger that we could share with these guys, because it would be useful for them to see it?
Yes. You can tell by my hesitation that I'm not sure where it's at. So it's housed internally somewhere at Kroger on your LMS. I can find out where, or I can ask Anne to send you guys all an email and let you know where that's at.
Yeah, could we do that? Because there was a little miscommunication on my part between Kevin and I around the Helm portion. And so while they had a lab with Helm in it, we didn't go into detail around Helm. So I wanted them to have access to that previous slide, because it does actually have Helm inside of it.
Wait a minute. Is it the Kubernetes fundamentals video? Is it the recorded chapter 1?
No, it's chapter 9.
Okay, so it's the actual recording of the class that we made to start with.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's housed internally, and I'll find out where, and I'll email you guys, or I'll have Anne email you guys.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be great.
And that's, my thank you for taking the post-class quiz and getting a really great score on it.
So Victoria, I don't see the link on the student portal.
So if you're in the student portal for the Kubernetes for Kroger that was today, 5.3, you
Yeah.
scroll down, so you'll see your instructor name, you'll see course
Ah,
materials,
I'm with you.
supplementary, and then you go down to quizzes.
Right.
And there's an assessment quiz and there's a button that says take quiz.
Okay.
You
Were we
only,
to take one the other day as well?
you were to take one before the program started, and then
Okay.
you're to take one now at the end.
Okay,
was-
thank you.
I think there was one person who did take it after the other Kubernetes class. Was that you, Terry?
Was not me.
I think one person was like a really gung-ho person and did go ahead and take the quiz again. If you took it already and it won't let you take it again, let me know and I'll have them clear out your score so you can try again if you want. And so, yeah, so we'll email you where that recording of the class is. Is there anything I can do for anybody?
You happen to, Victoria, do you happen to have the password for the PDF? When we go to copy from it, it says that we got to enter a password.
That's probably above my pay grade. Michael, is that something you know?
You know, the only person I know who has it is Tapas.
Funny, I don't think I needed it last week, but I must have been using a different version. Maybe it was the version that was shared in the chat.
Just put that in funny context. That's the CEO of the company. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
The rest of us are not allowed to copy from PDFs, I guess.
yeah, typically, you know, like I said, so we're under discussion around that. So yeah. So I don't think any of us has it.
Ryan, I'll request that they wipe that out and then I'll email you as soon as it was done.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so just today, tomorrow, if you can take that quiz, Ryan, you'll have to wait. Ken, I would have asked for a PDF that was unlocked. I don't know what I would have been told, but I would have asked for that at the beginning of class had I known it. But by now, the person that I could ask to unlock that is on Eastern time and leaves at 4 o'clock. So I think she's gone by now.
It's all right.
Will it help you to have it tomorrow or?
No, well, I can access the file inside the VM, so I can do that. And I also have it somewhere where it was unlocked because I was using it for the first day of the class. I have to go back and find out which of the 100 versions that I've downloaded is it. So
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
it's okay. All right, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, I'm on it and you guys will email you where the Kubernetes recording is. Have a great day.
Thanks, Victoria. I'm just hanging out with y'all, by the way. I know we're officially done at 4 o'clock, but I'm just hanging out with y'all. So the minute you're done, you can leave, but I'm just going to hang out with you just in case if people need additional support. So otherwise, this is great to hang with y'all today. Thank you for putting up with my shenanigans. And I left my email address inside. So if you need to email me with any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope your journey goes smoothly. I haven't heard a whole lot of details about Kroger's migration towards Kubernetes, but I imagine it's a high priority. So thank you.
Thank you. You're very informative. I appreciate your guidance and help. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys run into any local issues like pop up, just let me know. I answer questions all the time. Kubernetes is one of my favorite topics and has been for a couple of years now. So, okay, I'll let you guys focus. I'm here if any questions arise. Otherwise, know that probably around 4:30 or so, I'll close it down. But otherwise, I'm here.
So what's like the big advantage of Rancher over something like Anthos or something like that?
Well, Anthos is kind of different, right? Because Anthos is basically a management system for any virtual machine or container inside of any infrastructure, right? You're talking about Google's Anthos, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So that's really a multi-cloud play that is somewhat agnostic of the kind of Kubernetes.
Mhm.
Kubernetes, let me put it this way. Multi-cloud is kind of at least the traditional definition is kind of a myth. You're not going to run one workload across 2 or 3 cloud providers. You might run multiple workloads that are specialized on multiple cloud providers. Like you might run a big data workload on Azure because it's got, but or Google because it's got better things, and you might run another standard workload on Azure because it's got better services. But you're not going to run the same workload across both like Google and Azure.
Mhm.
We've tried that several times, and people were talking about Kubernetes as the abstraction layer to enable that. It can enable that diverse workload option, so you can actually like get to choose your cloud providers. But again, the problem with running one workload across multiple cloud providers is the latency you're going to get with state. If you
Mhm.
solve the state problem, then you're good to go. But like, how are you going to maintain a user database for across 2 different kind of geographically dispersed infrastructures? That's the problem. So Anthos is great if you are centered around Google and you want to run all of your workloads across a bunch of cloud providers and you want to centrally manage them through Google. That's
Mhm.
great. If you're like, well, I don't want to be tied to a provider, instead I'm just going to install Rancher and I'm going to run my Kubernetes clusters all over the place, in multiple cloud providers and just use Rancher to manage them. That would work great. The only distinction is that if you decide to move to a different cloud provider wherever Rancher is being hosted, you're gonna have to move Rancher to that new location. So, but advantages, I don't know. Anthos seems to be more focused a little bit more on virtual machines than it in clusters together, and whereas Rancher only does like clusters. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay.
yeah, really kind of different beasts, if you will. We'll see what
Yeah,
Google
kind of
does
like
with that.
OpenShift, I guess. I mean, yeah, OpenShift initially was like you could run in any cloud, but then, it's true. But then if you want to use the native features in the cloud, you run into all sorts of trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to use Amazon because it's got this function and you want to use Google because it's got some AI function and you want to use Microsoft because it's got some, right? All these things start to make it difficult.
Yeah. I would say Rancher is probably a better play simply because it operates at a higher level of managed infrastructure across all providers than Anthos does. Anthos operates where you're doing infrastructure as a service,
Yeah.
whereas Rancher will allow you to actually run managed Kubernetes nodes across all providers. And inside the Kubernetes nodes, if you want to hook into a native feature inside the cloud provider, you can do that. But we're still running into this problem of how do you manage, configure, and secure and log and operate and track and all that stuff if you decide to go across 2 or 3 cloud providers.
Yeah.
Because every time you add another cloud provider, there's 27 operational security concerns that you need to look at, and you got to figure those out every time you add a cloud provider.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even just adding a cloud provider itself with a contract and all that is daunting task.
Yeah, but how are you going to secure it? How are you going to log? How are you going to operate? Like, how are you going to patch it if that's even involved? And
Yeah.
so, it's like, it's a nice like thought, but at the same time, the amount of operational overhead you're going to eat to even just do 2 cloud providers, it's going to be pretty large. And
Yep.
people are so worried about getting like vendor locked in, and it's like, just to say this, every single technological decision we make locks us into something. If you're using Java versus Python, it's like you can't get away from it. So you kind of get a balance what the business is super concerned about from a risk perspective versus what is technologically possible. So
Right. I know Kroger stays away from Amazon because of the retail play. And I previously worked at a bank and I can't remember, we stayed away from, I think we were in Amazon, but there was always like some worry that Amazon was going to spin up its own payments that was going to start to compete,
well,
and once you get into that boat, then it's like, okay, now you're using a competitor's technology and all that sort of stuff comes up.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, yeah, you got to make a decision to move. Otherwise you get nowhere.
yeah, I know it's hard to avoid that. And everybody's crawling into everybody's business, right?
Yeah.
Amazon seems to be a little bit more aggressive than most, but
Right.
Google and Microsoft are no different. They just are a little more subtle about it. So, Yeah, I don't know. Amazon's pretty bullish about that kind of thing. Like when they came out with Amazon payments, it's like, what? You know how many partners you have that are running payment systems on your platform? Or when they got into advertising, it's like, what? You know,
Yeah.
seriously? And then
Right.
but I would say that Rancher's probably an easier play than Anthos just because of its higher abstraction. Because the problem with using cloud providers is if you're only using infrastructure as a service, then you're not really leveraging the gold of any of the cloud providers. Because once you get to like SaaS and PaaS, SaaS mainly,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like just to say this, like Amazon's got completely serverless RDBMS databases where all you pay is for storage and if a query is run. That database sits there and you don't run a query against it, you don't pay for compute.
Hmm.
That's gold, man. I can't tell you how many databases are out there that just sit there and do nothing between the hours of 12 and 6 o'clock because nobody's running any queries against them.
Right.
It's like stuff like that. All the providers have that kind of thing. But I don't know. It's so hard because you got to navigate all of that within the confines of the business need. And, you know, Kroger by far is not the only one who says that Amazon is their biggest competitor. Home Depot considers Amazon to be their biggest competitor by far.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I would say that lawn and garden equipment is not even Amazon's primary concern. Amazon Fresh is a complete competitor with Kroger.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Bottom line is, you know what the good news is? Everybody who can hear my voice as a tech worker, you guys are going to have jobs for the rest of your lives in case you decide to get sick of tech and leave. But, you know, all this little conflict and all this rise of the cloud and big data means that all of you, if you even just slightly stay current, and you're learning Kubernetes right now, you're going to have jobs for the rest of your careers. So,
Yeah, it's an amazing area. I mean, I remember when Amazon was a bookstore and it was a questionable bookstore at the time when it came out. Everybody wanted to run to Barnes and Noble. That's what they were used to, just like Netflix. Everyone was renting their videos from Blockbuster, and then Netflix came along, and it's a really interesting. I don't know if it was a movie or just a clip or something, but about how Netflix was hemorrhaging money because their subscription service was to just basically give their product away.
yeah.
And they went into Blockbuster to bail them out. And they walked into this boardroom with all these guys dressed in 3-piece suits. And they were in like Hawaiian shirts and jeans. And these guys in the Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. They said, "Get out of here, you clowns. We're not going to deal with you guys." Imagine if that decision would have gone differently.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Netflix is interesting because they went from a DVD company to a streaming company. They went from a streaming company to an original content creator.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you notice what they're doing now. They're gamifying their entire platform and they're going to add virtual reality to it. They are about to, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're about to do something crazy because that's what they do. Every like 8 years or so, they completely reinvent themselves. It's going to be so fascinating to see what they do next.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's just like Amazon, right? I mean, where they started and where they are today, it's just brilliant business decisions and technology working for them.
my son was on there the other day playing a trivia game with the TV remote. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm on Netflix playing trivia game. I was like, oh, I didn't. And it was like a show. And I was like, wait, is this working through the smart TV? He was like, yeah, it's just click, you know. I was
Wow.
like, oh my God, they have figured this out. You know, imagine
Yep.
if, and they have now, they have choose your own adventure stories out there on Netflix where you can like walk through and choose how you want the story to go.
That's
I'm,
cool.
I'm like, you know, again, is that super disruptive? No, but I guarantee you they're working on something that's going to blow our minds. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, the whole world still wants Kubernetes. I tell you what, between cloud providers, Kubernetes, and big data, those like seem to be like the big three that everybody wants. So just know that you are learning one of the things that people ask for more than anything. I have to beat people away with a stick because I do half consulting, half training, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm not doing more consulting. I've already done some pretty large projects right now, so So just know that what you're learning right here, Kubernetes is going to be in demand for the next 10, 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, are you guys using? You guys are obviously using Rancher. Are you already using OpenShift? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I don't think OpenShift was from a previous. That was when I was at the bank. I don't know. I haven't heard of Kroger using OpenShift. Definitely using Rancher. We were using what is it? Pivotal, Cloud Foundry, PCF.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we just did a migration off of PCF over to Rancher.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We're also
Well-
using Harness. Are you
Oh,
familiar
you-
with that? Harness?
Oh yeah. Oh, Harness. Oh, that's a good product.
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't think you guys will find any classes on Harness. I don't think anybody's teaching classes on Harness. You guys are probably doing self-taught, self-discovery
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
That's a fun tool.
Question for you. In Harness, we use YAML files to manage our deployments and everything. So we have like a deployment.yaml. And when, we took a break, I was looking through our YAML files, looking for one that had a kind of, kind:pod, and I couldn't find it. All we have is deployment. We have kind deployment.
Yeah. That's standard.
But
Usually you don't define pods usually. You define
okay. Well, that's why I was
workloads,
asking,
and
like,
they create pods.
that's why I was saying that or asking whether or not we determined what containers went into which pods. I was thinking that Kubernetes managed that for us because I don't see it in our YAML files at all.
Oh,
Like
when you
a
define the
pod
deployment,
definition.
you can
Yeah.
define multiple containers and it will stick them all in the same pod. You can actually control that if you want to.
So the
Most of them.
deployment maps to a pod.
Yeah, usually they assume that you're mapping to a single pod.
Okay. Okay.
Now they could have 15 copies of that pod, but that's how you map it out.
Okay. And then the other question I have, and this is why I wanted to see the Helm part, and I guess we're going through it a bit right now, is I don't believe we just have like YAML template files, and like, so we have certain named YAML files and then a values.yaml file that like provides certain values for it. Like,
Yes. That's exactly
so-
what that's all Helm stuff.
Is that Helm? That's what I was
Mhm.
wondering.
That's all Helm.
It is Helm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. 'Cause I was-
So, because there's not actually much to the Helm chapter that's inside your book, but if you look at it, what it does is that you actually have a couple of YAML files and you have a couple of directories, and then inside those directories are your standard like deployments.yaml, namespaces.yaml, services, all your objects for Kubernetes. But the
uh-huh.
values.yaml, what happens is that you put things in there like the version
Server name.
number, yeah, the name of the project, whatever, and then what happens is it fills all those into your YAML files, so you
Right.
don't have to go in and manually edit everything.
So that is Helm.
That's all Helm. That's all. All it does is it basically helps you with interpolation, so you don't have to
Okay.
go in and edit everything yourself.
'Cause
Helm
I
just
was
pulls from
I
these
was
values.
thinking, oh geez, now we need to switch to using Helm, because I was like confused and I didn't think we were using it, but that's good if we're already using it.
Yeah, it
So,
sounds like you're already using it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting another error, but let me see if it's a, come on, let's see what's that. Like part 4, step 1. Let's see. Let's see if I don't get- there's some- It's actually step 2. When I run that, it's on page 136 in the PDF.
Let's see.
It says error from server not found, secrets, bootstrap secret not found.
Oh yeah, some other people ran into that. All right, show me your screen.
All right. Right there. So I just went back to the history. This is the command I ran. Here I ran it right here. I got this error.
Press enter again.
Okay.
I don't know why. There seems to be
Might
some
work.
kind of weird character in there. That
Maybe when you originally copy and pasted, there's some error.
Well, because you're the third person who ran into that.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, press enter. That wasn't some magical insight on my part. Other people ran into that like in this session.
Okay.
And then when all of a
Alright.
sudden when they hit enter, it was like all of a sudden it worked. And it was like, what happened? There must have just been some bad character in there. Yeah. So there
How
you go.
do I unshare my screen? Let's see.
You should just stop sharing, but I can do it for you. Thanks, Ryan. Have a
Yeah.
good one.
Thank you, Michael. Excellent.
Thanks, Terrence. Have a good one. Yeah.
You
Oh,
too.
and we'll get you the recording, by the way, of Helm in case. But read the chapter. There's not much
Right.
to it, so I think you'll digest it easily.
Right. I have a pondering question. I don't know if you can answer this,
Go
but
ahead.
in the case of like desktop Docker, that needs to be running before a Docker configuration can actually run. What is, how thick is that layer?
Well, are you on Windows or Mac?
Windows.
So what it's going to do is it's going to start a virtual machine using WSL, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, which is going to require Hyper-V. I only mention that because if you love VirtualBox, it's not going to work anymore.
No, I understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So, but that layer's it's as thin as they can make it. So it's a really light distribution of Linux, but it boots up a virtual machine on the back end. And so everything is running from the Docker command line on Windows against the virtual machine Docker daemon.
Okay.
So it's pretty small, still eats up like, depends on what you run on it, but it's usually like a gig of resources, a gig of memory.
Okay.
And if you're not running any processor, it doesn't need anything.
Right.
But it's pretty small. And if you enable Kubernetes, it will run all the Kubernetes containers on the virtual machine. And so then Kubernetes will actually work as well as Docker against the WSL like virtual machine. So, but it usually doesn't eat more than a gig of memory.
That's fine. I've read in a couple places that Docker runs natively on the Windows or Linux or Mac machines, and having to install Docker client, that is not a true statement at that point.
No.
So,
No.
and that's okay. I'm just looking for clarifications along the way. So no big deal.
Yeah, the Docker client runs natively because it's compiled in Go for the OS in question.
Sure.
The Docker daemon has to be running on a Linux virtual machine.
No worries. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So excellent. Thank you. Great class.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, I'm not necessarily in a rush, but I do have to run off and grab my son from school. Does anyone need anything, or is anyone running into any errors that you've been banging your head against for the last 5 minutes?
No, I'm good. I just got the terminal up inside of Rancher. So looks like that's the end. Excellent. Thanks for your help.
Absolutely. Feel free to poke around. I don't think they're going to shut the virtual machines off until probably end of day tomorrow. So feel free to poke around and do whatever you want there, or even better, get it running on your local system. That's even more fun.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. Something comes up, email me. Otherwise, it was good hanging with you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Michael.
Yep. Thanks, Michael.